It's weird how so many people get upset with the whole trad wife trend and try to say that you can't be a traditional wife or a traditional woman if you're living in the modern era and if you're posting about it. As if I would get engaged and commit to spending my entire rest of my life with someone just for the Twitter clout or something.
You're not going to find a trad wife in 2026 or ever. It's not going to happen. They don't exist. These so-called unicorn women with traditional values that dress modestly and they just want to do whatever they can to support you and they love you unconditionally. I'm not going to say there are zero women out there that match that description, but it's very, very rare to the point you might as well just forget about it. And if you do find a girl that is actually living that life, there's at least a 99% chance she is extremely unattractive and she's really just using that lifestyle to cope. So recently, this trad cath influencer, Sarah Stock, or Sarah Setka, she had just recently gotten married, so her name changed, but she was mostly known as Sarah Stock, or she is mostly known as Sarah Stock. She is still alive. It's not like she died or anything, but her whole online presence was based around being a traditional conservative Catholic woman living a modest, chaste lifestyle, praising the Lord, living in his light, or whatever. She was publicly engaged and she got married. And part of her whole image was that she was waiting till marriage before she and her husband, did the do, so to speak. And I don't think she was really famous or anything. I had never heard of her. She was a kind of small-time influencer, I guess. I think she had maybe a few 100,000 followers across social media, something like that. But she was in that sphere, that sort of right-wing conservative social media sphere. And I mean, the Pope was at her wedding, apparently, or the Pope blessed her marriage, however that works. The actual freaking Pope, okay, there is a photo of it, so she must not be a nobody. But as I'm sure you already guessed, it recently came out that allegedly she had been cheating on her husband since before they got married. And the guy she was cheating on him with, of course, is her boss. It's a guy named Elijah Schaefer. I guess he does a podcast or something. I never heard of him, but apparently he is relatively well known amongst conservatives. So just imagine, you finally find your perfect trad wife. She's stunningly beautiful, or whatever, she's pretty hot. But as far as you can tell, everything checks out. She goes to church every Sunday. She dresses modestly compared to most girls. She doesn't have bikini pics on her Instagram or anything like that. Everything seems to check out. It's almost too good to be true. What a catch. I bet the guy's parents were so freaking happy for him too. Then they have this big fancy wedding. The damn Pope shows up to give his blessing, apparently. I mean, if the Pope approves of her, then surely she's legit, right? Fellas, you cannot be that naive. I know we all want to believe the good girls are out there, and I'm sure they are in very, very small numbers, but you can't delude yourself like Sarah Stock's husband did. All the signs were there, okay? He should not have fell for it, but he did. He fell for this devil woman's schemes, hook, line, and sinker, probably because he just really, really wanted it to be true. So he ignored the signs. By the way, allegedly, this chick even got pregnant from the guy she was cheating with. So, yikes. But yeah, the signs were there for anybody to see. Okay, so first of all, The girl is a social media influencer. It's her career. If that's not a giant, burning red flag, I don't know what is.
It's weird how so many people get upset with the whole trad wife trend and try to say that you can't be a traditional wife or traditional woman if you're living in the modern era and if you're posting about it.
One easy way to know if any given woman might actually be one of those rare trad wife type of gals is if she does not post on social media. Or maybe if she only posts a little bit, like very infrequently, and her posts are always just like a picture with her family or something. That's a good sign. But like with this Sarah Stock chick, she is a serial social media poster. It's her job even. She posts all the time. And she knows good and well that her following is based on her looks. By the way, she actually deleted all her social media accounts, so there's nothing to see now. But yeah, anyways, I don't care if she mostly posts about politics or Christian lifestyle things. Her following is obviously at least 85% Gooners. And she knows that because she looks like this. And yeah, sure, I don't think it's fair to judge a person's character based on the physical traits they were born with. But at the same time, when a girl is this hot, we all know what kind of following she is going to attract when she starts posting on social media and trying to be famous online. She's clearly taking advantage of her looks. She's basically attention farming is what she's doing. And as it turns out, from what we now know, or what we now allegedly know, she was really just playing a character. She was doing the whole Kira Lotan thing where she just exists as an attractive young blonde woman and she says all the things that she knows men want to hear a woman say. All this conservative values, this traditional lifestyle, that, and she just rakes in the cash. But she's not even just an influencer. It looks like she considers herself to be more of a journalist. So she's actually trying to be more a part of the legacy media, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure she was probably on the trajectory to become a Fox News host if she kept at it for a few more months. It's the Tommy Lauren strategy. And being in traditional media is an even bigger red flag than just being a social media influencer. I don't think it's really a big secret at this point how attractive women sometimes move up the ranks as an on-screen talent in these so-called news media channels. Obviously, it's not every female journalist doing it. I doubt anybody would have ever been willing to promote Rachel Maddow for some quid pro quo. She rose to the top the old-fashioned way, by being the biggest retard cable news television ever seen, ever saw, whatever. But all I'm saying, you gotta be extra cautious when you're dealing with a young woman that has aspirations of going into an industry that tends to attract amoral Machiavellian psychopaths, especially when it also just so happens to be an industry with a long proven history of sexual misconduct all over the place from every angle. Okay, so this chick obviously wants attention. She craves it. That's why she cultivated a sizable following online. She obviously knows what her strengths are. Her looks. Obviously. So you shouldn't be shocked to find out she's been having an affair with her boss when that is exactly the type of thing a person in her position should be doing if she wants to get ahead. It's the most efficient way. Of course, I'm not saying she should do that as if that's the right thing to do morally. Obviously it's not, but that is going to be an effective strategy in that industry. Or maybe I should say it would have been an effective strategy if she didn't get caught. Also, trying to go for a career in media, that's just a lifestyle that is all about attention. And I don't think I need to tell you what types of behaviors women that crave attention tend to get up to. But here's a picture of a hot dog, and here's a picture of a hallway. So let this be a cautionary tale. Do not ignore red flags. There probably are some attractive women out there that truly do hold traditional values or whatever, but you got to be realistic. If she has a large social media following, she's not that girl, okay? That is not your trad wife. And look, I'm about to show y'all a rare photo of Sarah Stock that nobody else is talking about. And in this photo that I have discovered through the course of my investigation, there is something there that makes it very clear just what type of woman this young lady is. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. Now, at first glance, this image may appear unremarkable. It just looks like a regular photograph, right? But let's take a closer look. Computer, enhance. Computer, enhance. Okay, so for those of you that are listening to this on your waterproof Bluetooth headphones in the shower, what we're looking at here is photographic evidence that this so-called trad wife, Sarah Stock, used to have a nose ring. I know some of you right now are probably thinking, so what? Big deal, she had a nose stud. It's just a fashion statement. Well, that's why I had to make this video. This is not just a fashion statement. It's a red flag. If a woman has a nose ring, then there is a very high likelihood that she is, loose with her affection, we'll say. Now, in most of her photos, the nose ring isn't there because she knows damn well what it looks like. So when she decided to get into the right-wing trad wife influencer grift, she got rid of the nose ring. Okay, she destroyed the evidence. But let's forget about Sarah Stock. Okay, that's just one chick. That's one woman. It's a sample size of one. That doesn't prove that there's some kind of epidemic of fraudulent tradwifery going on in this nation. And I'm not even trying to say that that's the case. I mean, most of these hoes out here these days ain't even trying to hide their nature. But seriously, there are a lot of women that go to church every Sunday and they espouse traditional values. You know, they're all about family, all about loyalty, all about modesty, all that good stuff. And some of those women might really be walking the walk, but most of them aren't. Most of them really are frauding, okay? They are living a fraudulent lifestyle. I'm not going to sit here and throw a bunch of studies and statistics at you to try to prove my case. I don't trust studies unless I have personally read them in entirety and carefully considered the methodology and everything. And I just don't have the time to do that. And also, quite frankly, quote unquote science is F and G. I just want you to think about modern society and think about incentives and think about human nature. An attractive female in this modern society is able to very easily attract many, many men, and she can easily choose one amongst them to marry and have kids with, and, so on. Now, just being attractive will go a long way for a woman these days. If she's attractive enough, that might be all she needs to lock down a high-value man, however you interpret that. But men that actually have lots of options, the top 5% of men in terms of looks, money, and status, they're at a level where they've had their fun with plenty of attractive women. They have plenty of options, and all of those options are hot. So, to attract the best man she can possibly get, a woman might actually need to make herself more attractive in terms of personality and character. So, the incentive is there. The incentive to pretend to be a family-focused woman with traditional values that hasn't been absolutely ran through already. Okay, there is the incentive there. It exists. Okay, and again, I'm not saying that every single woman that goes to church is actually an undercover succubus. But what I am saying is that some of them are. Probably a lot of them, maybe most of them, because the incentive is there. You have to understand human nature. You have to follow the incentive. And that will tell you all you need to know. And for the love of God, pay attention to red flags. Do your best to notice patterns in your day-to-day life. If you've been living in this world for long enough to remember a time when the beefy 5-layer burrito was affordable, then I think you've been living long enough that you should be able to notice there seems to be a pattern of loose behavior amongst females with nose piercings. That is a very prominent pattern with a very large sample size. And just use your intuition, okay? Look at this chick. Okay, she's dressed modestly, sure. She is not dressed in a provocative manner or anything. There's no obvious red flags that you can see in this image, but intuitively, I don't know why, I'm just using my subconscious here, but intuitively, you can just tell. You really can. You can tell she's not walking that walk. I mean, it's probably because she's hot. Honestly, I think that's what I'm picking up on here with my intuitive mind. She's hot. You know, this is a hot female. She's a good-looking gal. For an attractive young woman living in this modern society, the easiest way to find happiness and fulfillment in everything, not necessarily in the long term, or, maybe I should phrase it like this. It is very, very easy for a woman that looks like this to get everything she wants out of life using her looks and her body as currency. That is a very high value currency, and it's very easy to spend it. Offers are being made every freaking second of her life. From living in this world for 37 years, I know that most people alive on this planet will take the path of least resistance to a short-term happiness. For you and me, that might mean we end up playing Dark Souls all night instead of working on something productive. But for a hot young woman like this, just as easy as it is for you to find a little short-term satisfaction from some slop roguelike indie game, she can get some short-term satisfaction from just opening her inbox and messaging any one of the hundreds of guys begging to give her whatever she wants, whether that be a free meal, a boinking, or maybe just some attention. The offers are there. I can tell by looking at her that she has a very effort-free path towards short-term satisfaction. Lots of paths, actually, that she can choose from. So chances are, she probably does go down those paths from time to time. Okay, that's just statistics. So, yeah, you know what? I guess I am using science. So, checkmate. That's all I got for today. Please watch some of my other videos. Please subscribe to help me get to 10,000. And don't be a free agent. No, I'm just playing. That's the other guy. But thank you for watching.